Antoine Cousteau, lucid regret, moral responsibility, and hope for reparation. The testimony of Spirit Antoine Cousteau, presented in the second part of Heaven and Hell, is one of the most impactful accounts as it clearly reveals the mechanism of moral penalties according to Spiritism. It shows that spiritual suffering does not arise from external condemnation, but from the awakening of conscience in the face of the evil committed, when there are no longer masks, justifications, or possible escapes. Antoine Cousteau manifests in a state of profound moral suffering. His lucidity is total. He recognizes himself as the author of serious acts, admits his responsibility without reservation, and understands that his current condition is a direct consequence of his choices. This point is fundamental. There is no revolt, denial, or attempt to position himself as a victim. There is a clear awareness of the error. Modern depth psychology helps to understand this state. When consciousness can no longer defend itself through rationalization mechanisms, the contact with real guilt emerges strongly. Unlike neurotic guilt, imposed externally, this is an ethical guilt that arises from the internal recognition of having consciously caused harm to others. This type of guilt requires elaboration and reparation, not repression. Spiritism clarifies that Antoine Cousteau's suffering is neither eternal nor useless. He suffers because he perceives, with extreme clarity, the impact of his actions on other consciousnesses. This perception expands after passing, when the spirit begins to feel empathetically what it has caused. In this case, suffering has an educational function, to awaken the sincere desire for transformation. Modern science offers an important parallel by showing that human moral development goes through the capacity for empathy and responsibility. When someone fully recognizes the harm caused, a profound process of reorganizing consciousness begins. On the spiritual level, this process is more intense because there are no material distractions or social justifications. Another essential aspect of Antoine Cousteau's testimony is the hope for repair. Despite the suffering, he understands that his condition is not definitive. He recognizes that the path to liberation lies in sincere repentance, a genuine desire for change, and future efforts to repair the harm done, even if it requires long learning processes. Spiritism teaches that no spirit is condemned to eternal failure. Even those who have committed serious faults retain the possibility of regeneration. Divine justice does not eliminate responsibility, but it also does not close the doors to progress. Suffering persists only while the conscience still needs to learn. This testimony definitively dismantles the idea of imposed eternal punishments. Here, the punishment arises from the conscience itself, is proportional to the degree of lucidity, and disappears as learning consolidates. Hell is not a place, but a temporary inner state, sustained by the conscience until it transforms. Antoine Cousteau teaches us a harsh but profoundly human lesson. It is not possible to escape the moral consequences of one's own actions. However, he also teaches that no mistake is greater than the capacity to learn, repair, and evolve. The path may be long, but it is never closed. This account invites us to seriously reflect on our daily choices. Small abuses, dishonesty, and moral violence may seem trivial in life, but they leave real marks on the conscience. Living with responsibility, empathy, and respect is not just an ethical ideal, but a concrete preparation for one's future peace. If this testimony helped you reflect on responsibility, regret, and the possibility of regeneration, like, share, and leave your comment. Your participation helps this message reach more people.